Hello everyone. Looks like we got an interesting day today. Looks like there's more than 30 names. That's up more than 6% pre-market before the open. This one, Kiosia, I don't know whether I pronounced it right. It looks like very identical to SNDK. Probably like 95% correlation. And the market after the last week's uh, a quick and strong rebound or like a push from the lows, and we got a few days sideways action, which is very nice. Like the pullback hasn't touched the 9 EMA. It hasn't even come back to the 9, and building this previous gap up, it's just showing immense strength. And today we got a gap up. Looks like it's trying to break out from this range. Although personally I'm a little bit skeptical because it's a little bit overextended. But I mean, when so many stocks are reacting well and like it's basing consolidating healthily, then I have no reason to avoid them or to just pass on them. Yeah, and I sold MSTR and BMNR yesterday because, as I've said, I'm using the 9 as the guide, as the level that I to decide whether I'm staying in the crypto's positions. It looks like that we got some positive actions from the altcoins, the smaller coins. They're doing fine. But I think today's I'm not gonna focus too much on them because we got too many things are doing well today. I don't know. Looks like we're getting the best scenario to me. I think I'll run out of buying power today. I want to buy the SMCI this on this pullback on the 9 EMA 1 minute chart and confirm up from the open, but I run out of buying power. So that's that. Unless I got stopped out from my core V for SpaceX, whatever. Yeah, looks like I just cannot buy anything any more names. Yeah, this core V hasn't stopped me out just yet, and I really want to buy the KMU and Intel or the Seagates, but I can't. Do you think you're getting a little overexposed? Would it be a bit too greedy? Because it seems like you've got too many positions to focus on. Yeah, I was asking myself this question multiple times since I've got like more than 10 positions maybe a week ago. But my answer is no. And to me, the number of positions that I'm in is not important at all. Like they're irrelevant because the market won't give a shit on how many positions that I'm in or you're in or Warren Buffett's are in or like Kenny Boys are in. I mean that's irrelevant. To me, like I'm really focusing on the market breadths and the individual stocks actions, and definitely also like the Qs and the indices as well. Currently, I don't see like really big red flags or like the warning signs in the market. The only warning signs that I don't like is the is the overextension of the semis names on the weekly. Although this is a pullback for like 30%, but still it's quite extended, especially on like the leaders like Dow, pretty far away from the 50 EMA, 40% above the 50 EMA. Yeah, this is the thing that I really don't like. But in a strong market, like the market can go much further higher than everyone expects, and I don't want to second guess the market and trying to outsmart the market. Like I truly believe that the market is gonna tell me when it doesn't want to go up anymore. Core with re-entry. Yes, I bought it on the 5-minute breakout. If I'm not buying core with, I'm gonna buy the A lap on this 5-minute pullback into the anchor VWAP and the previous swing high. This tiny range, intraday range highs. I would consider it as a low risk entry point intraday. May I know how much is your exposure right now? I think it's around 350%. I don't know the exact figure too, but around that level. This QNT is doing super well after earnings. Get a quick flush after the open. Get the gap filled and get the pullback into the 60-minute and the daily EMAs and have a quick bounce, 1-minute bounce, and then it's just go straight up. Since impressive. I remember you mentioning QNT being a strong setup to you previously, but you think the volume is too low. It's now a different story. Still a little bit too. Yeah, today maybe better, but still a little bit too low, especially for like a 15 billion market cap stock. Yeah, I believe the spread will be pretty high during the first 5 or 15 minutes. Do you need to take out the high when you do opening range breakouts on 1 minute or 5 minutes? I trade both. Like it depends. It really depends on where the market opens and whether the market is extended or not in a shorter time frame. Yeah, it really depends. Frog, yes, Frog I think is also a little bit too low, the volume. Yeah, but the weekly is looking very nice. It's looking really nice. Yeah, definitely the IGV is a little bit extended. So I think I'm gonna avoid the software names before the IGV like come back to the maybe to the 9. Like even pulling back to the 21, I would consider the pullback is very healthy on the software sector. And so we got a little bit extended on the weekly too. Why are you still tracking Intel despite it having overhead resistance at the 50 EMA? That's exactly one of the reasons why. Like, although I'm pretty bullish on Intel, but I would also like to track the price actions when the Intel reaches the declining 50. Like how it's going to react to it, how weak it is. Does it show any kind of rejection? Like if it doesn't show any rejection and then just go straight up, just blowing it off, then it's a sign of strength. And can you explain a bit on SpaceX entry today? It's a bit extended from the EMAs and bounced so much from the bottoms in a few days. Yes, I totally agree with you. And it's also below the weekly 9 as well. The main reason behind is the strength of the space sector from the past few days. It got something like ASTS riding the 9 and 21 higher, and then I think Rocket Lab is a little bit weaker, but still doing fine, and at least it's now back above the 9 and 21 as well. The small caps we got, what's the one? Maybe this red wire? Is this? Yeah, probably this RDW. And ONDS as well. Although it's like a more like a drone names, but yeah, the space sector as a whole is doing pretty well in the past few days. And then this entry is at the 60 minutes 9 EMA bounce. So it's a little bit, it's definitely a little bit aggressive because it's extended from the daily EMAs. But I just really like the sector strength, and the stop is tight enough, so I'm just taking it back. Today is a good pullback buy. Yeah, at the open maybe is a fair one. Yeah, maybe, but yeah, I don't like buying today because IGV is a little bit extended to from the 9, and this one is I prefer a gap up and then a pullback rather than a gap down below all the EMAs in the 60-minute chart. If you're bullish on the space sector, YSS can be a parabolic long, but why YSS when you got the stronger names, and it's not liquid, is it got the earnings tomorrow? Why you want to buy YSS? How can you held 50% position lately? I've been washed out several times in Dell, HPE, Dodge. I guess you mean like DDoG, right? And FTNT since last week. I don't know, for Dell and HPE, they're doing pretty good. So if you're getting washed out in the past few days, so probably either your entry was not optimal, or your stop settings are not optimal. So yeah, I believe it's a great opportunity to like go back and study your entries or stop settings to see whether like how you can improve them. Why pick Intel today as it's close to 50 EMA resistance level? Would that be a short edge? Yeah, maybe. But for the entries, I'm not going to just look at the chart. Maybe on the daily or on the weekly. I really wanted to line up the market and the sector to the individual stocks. Yeah, and to me, I really want to base my trades on the bigger picture first. So right now the market is in an uptrend, just breaking out from the base, riding the 9 EMA, not even pulling back below it, and the sector the semi sector is getting a gap up, and it's now holding the gap, holding the previous swing high pretty well for now. I don't see any edge on shorting here. Maybe you can argue there will be like a failed breakout, like gapping up into the previous swing high, and could be a gap and fade. But also, I see there are like more positive actions from the semis names than the negative ones. Like you can tell by the breakouts compared to the breakdowns today. Many semi names are getting above from the 50 EMA. So I don't like only using the chart. I'm trying to line up the rationale behind, the context behind a stock or a theme or a chart. I think too many people are too obsessed with the chart itself, and you will lose a very, very huge part of your edge. Oops, sorry, I'm muted. Yeah, I'm talking about the firm. And yes, I do agree. Affirm it. I think yesterday is a decent entry. Maybe on the like the 5 minute candle breakout, we've got a tight stop, and it's very close to the 9 and 21 on the daily as well. But I just unfortunately today we got stopped out. But yeah, but I think like software names from the past 2 to 3 days, the success rate is kind of low. Maybe it's because of the like extension of the IGV. Let's see whether we can get another entry, like when the IGV can slow down a little bit, and whether firm can hold above the weekly 9 or like the daily 50 EMA. It's still looking pretty decent right now. When did you find out that it's all about the index and sector? Because I traded individual stock based on pattern, but then I found out it's all about where are the indices. I don't agree it's all about the index or the sector. They definitely play a very important role on I think especially the timing, and definitely also like improving your win rate when you're trading with the sympathy or from the market or from the sector. But at the same time, I do agree that individual stocks do have a big role in maybe like stock selection, or like I mean like in determining your trades, like how well your trades can go. And maybe let's take like MU versus SNDK as an example. Like they're both memory names, but you can easily tell like MU is much stronger than SNDK from the past few weeks. So yeah, I can't really predict how they're going to perform, but like if I have to choose like MU versus SNDK, that I'm definitely gonna choose Micron today. And yeah, so I really believe like individual stocks are the stock pattern is definitely very important as well. I'm curious why you re-enter AOI when there's such an erratic behavior from COHR and lights on Monday. Wouldn't that be a warning sign for the sector? Honestly, I don't consider like the actions from the COHR and lights. So I don't take them into account when I'm entering AOI. The reason why I re-enter AOI is that yesterday we got a pullback into this gap level after on the earnings day, and yeah, and then I just bought the 5 minute breakout, and that's that. Maybe also another reason would be is doing pretty strong, where like after this gap up, and since then it's going just sideways and not even touching the rising 9. And I also like the pullback on the weekly 9 and 21 as well. So like I think even it stops me out yesterday, I'm going to like keep trying when it's pulling back to the 9 or even pulling back to the 21. How would you describe your edge? Trading a timing entry with the index, buying from moving averages, and your mental skills to execute your edge without hesitation. Is this correct? I mean, to me, I think in the most fundamental level of my style or of my trading philosophy, I'm just focusing on getting the entries with the tightest before a range expansion. I would kind of describe it like that. And maybe now, like, because the pullbacks works a little bit better now, so more entries that I mean, I would trade more pullbacks because the stock is going to bounce back after it pulls back into the support. So what if, like, maybe like 5 or 10 years later, when the stocks pulls back into the support, they're not going to bounce back? What if they're just going to go sideways or getting into? Then I'm not going to buy the pullback because it's not I'm not getting any follow through after my entry. Was AEHL a breakout entry or a pullback? It was a bit extended from a 9 EMA when you bought it. I mean, on the 60-minute, it could be a, I don't know. Like, I have no idea. On a daily, it could be a breakout. 60-minute, it could be a pullback, and on the 15-minute, it is a breakout. So I actually have no idea. But I agree, it's a little bit aggressive because I'm like using the 60-minute EMAs rather than it's a little bit too extended from the daily. I personally find it very difficult to set tight stop. Like, you often get watched down multiple times and not to know whether to re-enter or not. Entered AEHR same day as you, but gave up after getting stopped. Yeah, maybe AEHR is a good example. Like, this is the one that is working out. Yeah, kind of like, yeah, that's working out, and just take it as an opportunity to like see like where did you get in, where did you get out, and looking back, like where can you re-enter the names with a limited risk, and just like trying to get more get more examples, get more experience, either by like studying your past trades or only like going through the charts. I think you can get a lot of like the shakeout entries, especially taking the ones that taken out from the low of day. Like, to me, the more that you study, like, eventually you will find something like some similarities, or like it just clicks. So if you like, if you did put in the works, put in the time, like, I don't know, at least a few hours or maybe like 10 hours in studying the shakeouts entries, or maybe you can see the pullbacks entry, etc., and you still cannot get it, or you just don't find the aha moments, then maybe it's just not for you, and it's completely fine to like not trading this type of entries. And I entered 6 semi names today. The stops are tight, but do you think that's too much exposure in a single day? You are the one that defines whether that's too much for you, like, not me. If you can I mean, if you accept the fact that you're gonna lose a certain percent of your accounts, like it's fine for you. Any thoughts on how you will handle your CPRS trade since there's earnings later on tonight? I personally would trim half and leave the other half running and see how it goes. I mean, for in earnings, I don't know. Like, to me, like, I would I would trim some if I cannot accept the possibility that like a winning trade turned into a break even or a losing trade. So if you cannot accept like tomorrow there will be like a 20% gap down on CPRS, like you can't accept that, then just trim some. And if you do, like if you can, let's say, I don't know, if you can handle like a, let's say, 10% gap down, then maybe you can trim less. Oh, yeah. Or maybe like let's put it this way, like if you cannot handle like a 10% gap down, like if CPRS is gapping down into like 220 tomorrow, and you're gonna get mad, you're gonna lose yourself, or I don't know, like gonna overtrade tomorrow, then probably you're gonna trim more. And if you can like handle a 20% gap down, like then you can trim less or not trimming any. So it really depends. And also, like, to me, I would also look at how the market is doing and how the sector is doing. So when the sectors and the markets are doing well, then probably I'm trimming less. Like, are the market and the sectors are getting hot, or maybe are they and also like the individual names or like CPRs, are they getting extended or not, like etc. And again, it's like it's always good to trim some. Maybe it should be like it's never wrong to trim some, to book some profits. But how much do you trim, or whether you trim or not, it really depends. I saw you use 1 minute range breakouts to enter Dell, but it was already 10:13. What makes you use 1 minute breakout rather than 5 minute or 15 minute? Dell? Oops, probably is because the 5 minute and 15 minutes range is too wide. You can see this 5 minute candle. If I'm going to use the 5 minute candle breakouts, like it would be like a 2.5 to almost 3% stop. That would be too wide for me. And yeah, because I'm trying to tighten my stop, then I'm just going to use the 1 minute. Do you think profit cushion is one of the big factors to think of? Like if you don't have a lot of profit cushion in CPRs, we tend to trim more. Yes, probably. What is your reason for not trying a core with dip again? I put it at this 15-minute breakout. So I tried on the 1 minute breakouts and the 5 minute breakouts, and now this 15-minute breakout, and let's see whether it works on the, if it's gonna stop me out, then that will be the end of today's trades. This A-Lab is getting really nice follow through, and MU, and also this C gates too. So I think I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you guys for coming today, and we will see you in the next one.